Happy Halloween. I tried to replicate this Miller point, but I couldn't make the base wide enough. But I'm still going to consider it a paleo-type replica. Anyway, enjoy the video. Let me know what you think. When you hear that sound... Yes.
Oh, that is the best. Look at that.
Make a big point out of this.
Nice.
This is going to be good for the spear point. This piece here. A platform. Sometimes you might want to grind it to make it stronger.
Here's a...
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, now we're gonna hit the platform and try to peel a flake off this area. See how it followed that ridge?
Oh no.
So So I'm making a lance style spear point that I could test on the atlatl, which is a spear thrower. Now, this material seems slightly brittle, so you gotta be really careful because it could break when you're shaping it. I need a heavier billet. Loose antler. The bigger the billet, the more powerful the strike is, the larger flakes are removed. So since I know this material is brittle, I could save myself a headache of it breaking by keeping it a little thick, a little on the thicker side. See that? And as you're shaping it, it's getting thinner and thinner. And the thinner it gets, the easier it'll break, so you gotta be careful. Especially working on the base. The base is extremely delicate. It could snap the point right in the middle. You don't want to go much thinner, and we want to start to sharpen it now. Alright. Biface means it has two faces of worked material. It is a little thick, but we will fix that. And the way we're going to fix that is with, it's called pressure flaking. And instead of doing what I'm doing here with the indirect and hitting, what we're going to do is we could even take the issue stick itself and press flakes off, like that. To make a serrated edge, a sharp edge. Usually I have to switch back and forth between indirect and pressure flaking, just to thin some areas. can see here, point is starting to take a really nice shape. Just want to make sure the edges are sharp. See a flaw in there, so you want to try to get rid of flaws by knocking them away. Imperfection in the stone. There's not much you could do about that besides make the point smaller. I'm not going to go much thinner than this because it is a brittle stone. Grinding the edges again, you could also see places you could strike easier. And I'm going to do one more thinning pass on this edge from the top to the bottom. Just to thin it a little bit more. It's kind of crushing and hanging up, but it's working. This area here has a problem.
When it has a problem, it gets a lot harder to control those flakes, right?
Mm-hmm. See how it's hanging up? There's imperfections in the stone there. You can try one thing. It's dangerous to try. I would not recommend doing this because the base is the weakest spot.
And when you say the base, what do you mean?
The bottom of the point. So here's the tip, here's the base.
Gotcha.
Now, if you do it at an angle, you're less likely to break the point, but the point might still break.
And how are you holding it to support it to reduce the likelihood of it breaking when you hit the base?
So I'm holding it like this to support the sides, and I'm putting the tip into my hand. The tip is not sharp yet. You don't want to put a sharp tip into your hand and hit. But supporting all sides and taking the flakes off. You can see there's a line in there.
Mm-hmm.
That is a extreme imperfection right there.
Show it again.
Right in there.
Yep.
So we're going to leave that alone. And we're just going to thin this section a little bit right here.
I imagine that knowing what to leave alone and what to
That comes
try
with
to, yeah, it comes with experience, right?
that comes with doing this. As you do it, you'll learn what's good, what's not. So we got the basic point shape down. I'm just going to thin right here a little bit.
I think it's interesting just to show how you're holding it, because when you're hitting it, there's a big percussion wave going through the stone, and so when you hold it, you're kind of controlling that wave of pressure. I don't know how to phrase it correctly.
That's right.
That vibration that's going through the stone.
Mm-hmm. So there's a big problem in there that we're not going to be able to do too much about. I'm going to try one more thing. You don't need to fix that for this to be a good hunting point. But if you're doing this for art, you're not going to like messy things like that. This is just not going to work.
It's risky.
sometimes you could get the angle right and peel it off, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. A little bit of it. All right, I'm going to try one last thing for that spot. That is really unfortunate that that's there. Risky. Don't try this. It's just not going. Just doesn't want to go.
Yeah. Oh well.
All right, so what we're gonna do is come in at an angle, and this will work. See how I chewed the ear off?
Very good bit of it.
There we go. And there's the imperfection that held everything up. All right, so we got a thin enough base now. Okay, not messing.
That was a good demonstration of how to fix trouble spots when flint knapping.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do now is just sharpen it up and shape it with pressure flaking. This is a very, very brittle stone, but it's working, and it's working pretty nice.
And this is one of the reasons why you really want to find very smooth stones.
Mm-hmm.
Just the more imperfections, the more trouble spots, the harder it is to control their flaking.
Tip is very brittle. So if you're using this stuff for testing or hunting, it's going to need resharpening each time you use it.
To resharpen, you just essentially do what you're doing now, right?
Yep, just more pressure flakes, because this tip, when this hits something, it's going to blow the tip off. And you're going to be left with a smaller rock. And to fix it, you just do what I'm doing here. It's called pressure flaking. Shaping the tip and resharpening it like that.
If it was a less brittle type of stone, it would be less likely to have the tip break off.
Mm-hmm.
And each time you resharpen, you're getting down to a smaller and smaller point.
Yep. All right. I'm going to leave it like that. I should try to get rid of that, but I'm not going to mess with that anymore. Maybe I will. I'm just going to try to hit this one spot right there and see if I could get rid of that lump. Alright, final flake. Didn't do as much as I wanted it to do. Does have a problem in there. Alright, we're gonna leave it like that then. And we'll still test this. I chewed up the edge a little bit. But again, you could fix that with pressure flaking. See that?
So the pressure flaking helps if the sides get dull or if you crush an edge by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna test this on an atlatl throwing spear. Alright. So the adventure of finding this rock. I came down to this river looking for flint that I could work. And I find it. I find it in a lot of places, guys. And we wind up with some really, really pretty tools like this. Look at that. Look where we are. Okay, we are going to put this on an atlatl and test it. So what's happening is my dart was being deflected. Split the pumpkin. I hit a few times. There. There. That was glancing. This is the only one that hit hard enough to stick in, but when it stuck in, the dart kept wanting to go, and it pushed it up and peeled the point off of the dart. But that's pretty fun. This is hard pumpkin. Hard. Alright guys, that was fun. Black chert from Pennsylvania. Would do the job. Look at that crack.